All right. Hey, everybody. Happy Sunday. Thank you again for taking the time to join us here with Career Files. Unfeathered presenting Career Files. And this week we're going to focus on how to move from doer to leader without waiting for permission. My name is Justin Thomas, aka the Job Father. I'm an executive recruiter with over 15 years of experience and also a career coach. I help you find the offer you can't refuse. And with me today, I have my great and wonderful co-host, Netta. Netta, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Netta. I'm the founder of Unfeathered. I'm really excited for today's topic, and I just wanted to say that anything I say today is not a reflection of my employer. These are my views. Thank you very much, Justin.
No worries. So today we're going to focus on this session is going to teach you how to act, speak, and show up like a leader, how to build authority before the title, and how to position for promotion or a leadership level job search. Okay. So most people think leadership is granted. Well, it's not. It's recognized, all right? After you start doing it, after you start doing the work, then you become recognized. Then you earn that title as a leader, all right? So, do you have any, before I can hop into it, Netta, but do you have any quick story about maybe a time throughout your career where you showed first or where maybe where you've missed the mark, where you're trying to become a leader more so than a doer?
I think that the first time that people started recognizing potential in me as a leader was in university.
Okay.
I didn't recognize it. It's just years, 5, 6 years after I graduated, my colleagues, classmates, former classmates, were telling me that they saw potential. The other thing I wanted to say is I'm looking in my papers. We had a meeting on Friday at work, and one of my managers was, and I found it, he was giving us advice on leadership, and I took notes and I want to share them today. And the other thing I'll add, leaders are not born, leaders are made. So it's been like simmering in my mind since last week, this thought. So
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
uncover that too. You're not born a leader. You become a leader. Remember that. Thank you, Justin.
I like that. Well, I want to share a quick story about myself. Very early in my career, I've always been somebody that is a little bit of an overachiever. So earlier in my career, I'm part of the last generation where we really were in the office, where you worked hard, you were loyal to the company, and you believed that you were rewarded for it. And I was a recruiter, and I came in, I stayed late, left after the boss, did all of the extra work, made sure I hit all of my numbers for my quotas and metrics and everything. And yet, and still, when that next year came around for promotions, I was overlooked for somebody that did half the work that I did. Right. So, and it taught me a key lesson. It taught me a key lesson that I had to start doing the right type of work. Right. I didn't need to wait for permission to step outside of my scope. I needed to make sure I did my work correctly, but not ask for permission before starting to do things to show leadership that I can be valuable in other places outside of my role, not just adjacent to, but above the level that I'm already at. And fast forward a year in that role, fast forward a year, I left that position and went to a new one as a contract recruiter for a small government contracting agency. And I started out as a contract recruiter. Within a month, I was promoted to deputy chief administrative officer, working directly under the second person in charge, right? And how I did that is I saw a need where they did these kind of war room meetings every week in our weekly meetings, and they needed somebody who had experience with Excel. This was a massive, 50 page Excel document that went through all of our programming, all of our needs, and they needed somebody to be able to analyze that and report on it to leadership weekly. And I did it. I took a stab at it. I killed it. I wasn't perfect, right? But I did it. And after about 2 or 3 weeks of doing so, I nailed it and I got the promotion. The position didn't exist, but the leader saw potential in me and saw what I was doing and recognized my potential to lead and hired me on as a full time and increased my title and salary. So I just want to start the kind of conversation off with that it is possible, right?
So I wanted to jump in here for two things. First off, this is an interactive discussion, an engaging one at that. So We are live on X, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Drop a comment, ask us a question. We are here with you. We're not in a little screen with just Justin and I. You're here with us. So jump into the comments, drop a comment, ask a question, tell us how your day is. We want to hear from you. The other thing, the leadership trap is what I like to call it, the leader trap. When we say be a leader, it doesn't mean get promoted and be a boss, like and you're telling people what to do. No, that's not what it means. Being a
Okay.
leader means being accountable to yourself for your own self development and owning up to it. It's taking leadership and ownership for your growth. It's being proactive. It's not just as Justin put it. He didn't wait for his boss to tell him what to do. He was proactive enough to anticipate the next steps for his self development, for his promotion, for a project. That's what a leader does. A leader acts responsibly, not only for getting the execution done, but going above and beyond that. And that's the mindset that we want to instill in our audience's mind. And leadership, if you're looking to get promoted, even even if you are an entrepreneur, people notice when you go above and beyond, right? When you're self-developing, when you're working on something new, you're trying new things, and you're looking at improving yourself. So let's keep going, Justin.
No, I mean, that's the perfect segue into this myth that we want to break here, which is being the smartest or the fastest worker doesn't necessarily signal that you can influence, navigate ambiguity, or drive outcomes through others, right? Exactly what Netta just said. Those things, those are the traits that, and I'm sorry, that is what leadership actually means, right? Being the smartest or fastest worker often gets you stuck, like I said in my story, right? Earlier on, it got me stuck. I was reliable. So they wanted to keep me there because I was reliable, Justin, in that position. They knew I can get it done, and they wanted me there. There was no, I did not create a room of growth or even show the show of leadership that I can be a leader in that team. So you're not being used, like you're being typecast. And today we want to change the role you're known for, right? And that's how you become seen and empowered.
You become seen. Keyword here, you become seen. That requires strategy, that requires a vision, that requires you knowing when to say what. And you know what? It also involves not being ashamed to have the attention on you. I think that there's a way to get that attention on you without coming off as, I don't want to say it like this, or a suck up, because a lot of people do it in such an inauthentic way. They're just there. I don't know how to phrase it, Justin. Jump in here, please.
Mhm.
It's like they're looking to please. It's not that you're looking to please anyone. It's looking to show that, hey, I'm putting in the work, I'm putting in my efforts. It doesn't, you do it in a way that you don't want to get noticed, like, hey, I'm here. It's more that I'm putting in my efforts, I'm trying my best, I'm taking ownership. There's you need to strike a balance between those two. And I think that comes with experience and time.
And if I could just be totally transparent with you guys, like today is not more so, I'm not speaking to you guys from a thought leadership position on this, to be 100% honest. I know how to help people find jobs and land their next roles. I know everything when it comes to, or mostly everything when it comes to recruiting. But for this conversation, guys, please chime in, right? Because I'm not an expert on this. We want this to more so be like a fireside chat, right? A conversation. I'm not saying everything I say is going to be correct on this topic because I am not the expert. So if you're watching, if you have ideas on how we can do things better to become, to move from a doer to a leader, guys, please chime in. Please drop in the chat an example, or please drop in the chat if you've been overlooked, if you felt unseen, and how you the steps you took to overcome that. Is that okay with you, Netta? Because this, I promise you guys, this is not, I am not an HR leader. I am a talent acquisition leader. So This topic is more so of a conversation, and things that I've been through, things that Netta has been through, and just some research that I've done, that we've both done over the past few weeks before jumping onto this topic. But please, guys, interact with us, talk to us. Uh, Go ahead, Netta. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. I was also thinking if we can have a special segue towards the end of our live stream when you can tell us, because you're in talent acquisition, right?
Hmm.
What are some things that you notice from candidates during the interview process that show green flags of a leader? You know, I would love for you to talk about that too.
Perfect. We can definitely make sure we come back and circle back around to that.
Definitely we will. We surely will. All right, let's keep going.
All right. So the identity shift, becoming the leader before the title. A lot of times, what does that mean? A lot of times, some of us don't want to do the work, or we don't want to do the extra work before we get the title, or we don't want to at least work towards that unless we know for sure that there's a title available. Right. So a lot of times we wait till the yearly reviews or until something is posted to try to show our worth, but we're already behind the eight ball. By the time those titles are created, the company already has somebody in mind, right? Or they're looking to bring somebody in from the outside. So you're behind the eight ball. All right. Leadership is a set of micro behaviors, not a job description. Okay. It is not a job description. It's about, can you lead a group of people within a certain function? And can you do it successfully? Can you motivate? Can you motivate them to get their job done? Can you motivate them to feel like they're working in a safe space to be able to come and give you as a leader feedback as to how they can work better, but at the same time not being a yes man or woman, and putting your foot down when needed in a subtle and gentle way, or in the way needed for that team to be success, to get the needed outcomes. All right. In meetings,
I love it.
leaders speak in outcomes and patterns, not just status updates. Right. Did you want to hop in there, Netta?
I'm really curious to know more about what you said about the last thing, about leaders speak in patterns and something else that I
Oh, sorry.
lost for a second.
In
Can
meetings,
you
leaders.
elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, so in meetings, leaders speak in outcomes and patterns, not just status updates. So have you ever been in your everybody, well, mostly if you're in corporate world, you do your weekly meetings with your team or with leadership, and the team just goes around and gives a status update, right? Everybody just is just telling what the status of whatever project or whatever you're working on, whatever the updates are. That's all they speak in. But if you've been in a room with a leader that you respect, they talk about the outcomes, how you got there. Even if the outcomes aren't positive, they talk about the patterns to which led you there and the patterns that can get you out of that situation. They don't point fingers, they don't point the blame. They don't just say, well, hey, Justin didn't perform this week, or operations didn't perform this week. They speak in, hey, over the last couple of weeks, we spoke about X, Y, and Z. We put these risk factors in place, and we're seeing a pattern of, even though we've done the things to excuse me, I'm having a brain fart. But even though we've done the things to avoid the risks that we discussed, we're seeing these patterns happen. So here's what we should do to move forward. Are there any suggestions? Does that make sense, Netta? So
It does.
I'm not just speaking in updates. I'm giving you the outcomes, and I'm giving you the patterns as a leader, and then I'm opening up the floor for my team to give me their input, because a lot of the times the teams who are the doer in that point, the people on the ground are doing the work. And I do not like, I won't say hate, but I strongly dislike a leader who does none of the work, only sees the results, and comes in and speaks on those results without having any idea of what they're actually talking about as to how the patterns that led to these outcomes.
And I'm gonna circle back to what you said, and part of the notes that I took when my manager was talking the other day is related to the last thing you said. But some thoughts that I have is you need to become your own boss first. You need to, before they announce that next job, before, just as Justin said, before that yearly end review, you need to anticipate. I always talk about sitting down with yourself and having introspections and honest conversations. Um, you need to sit down and talk about, this is where I want to go. This is where I see myself. and you need to imagine yourself already in that role or preparing for that role. So outside of work, sit down and do your learning. See if you anything that you're learning, you can bring it to your current role, because there are some things that are transferable. So you
Correct.
need to be very intentional, responsible about your self development. Justin talked about patterns. Justin talked about language. Your managers will you need to know what kind of person they are. You need to know how they communicate. You need to understand their pain points. As a leader, you are proactive. You are the solution to their problem. You are actively looking to solve those pain points. You want to be the person that is at the top of their mind. You are psychologically conditioning people to get used to you as the person that is at the top of their mind when it comes to the promotion, when it comes to special projects. That's how you get noticed. Leaders get noticed, and you shouldn't be afraid of that. You shouldn't be afraid of showcasing yourself. You need to have faith in yourself. You need to appreciate who you are and your uniqueness. And I think that a leader is work in progress, and sometimes we're not exactly confident in ourselves. So we need to embrace that identity, because becoming a leader is an identity shift and it's something that takes time. So it's work in progress. Give yourself some slack if you sometimes are not perfect or things don't turn out the way you want. It's a part of the journey, it's a part of the growth. So give some grace to yourself. And when it comes to recognizing the patterns, right? When you're in those meetings, you listen carefully. You read between the lines, and that's a skill that takes finesse and time to build.
Exactly. And leadership is
And
about speaking up. It's about influencing the room without dominating it. But you have to, true leaders are not afraid to speak up in the tough situations. But the way you speak up is that you ask questions that show that you understand context and not just asking about the task. For example, for me as a global TA leader for multiple years in corporations, especially managing the go to market sales recruiting teams, sometimes they would miss the metrics, right? Sometimes we have a metric or a KPI, key performance indicator, which is offer acceptance rates, which means how many offers we actually extend to candidates and how many that versus how many of those candidates actually accepted those offers, right? So say if we want our offer acceptance rate to be 100%, that's just the metric we want it to be. If it's anything below that, when we go into the meetings, especially with executives, this is outside of just a team meeting. This is just with the group of departments that you're meeting with. Say I know our sales team, recruiting team did not hit that metric. Instead of going there and saying, hey, were you speaking, how many people were you talking to, or how did you ask them these questions? No, it's understanding the market. The context is, okay, hey guys, what was the approved budget for this role? Did we establish before earlier on in the interview process that the budget we have to offer is something that this candidate would accept? Are we asking the right questions ahead of time? And if we are there any issues with the budget that we're offering compared to the market and what they're offering in other companies? Because that's typically a key reason that you lose offers. So that's just an example in my realm. I only can speak in my industry because that's what I know. But put that in, kind of switch that into whatever you do, and learn to ask the context. Right? You're not going in there and just bullying and throwing your team under the table. You're asking the questions to get the solutions needed. I know for a fact in those times that we weren't offering the proper budget to be competitive in the market. So people would just take our offer, use it as leverage for another company or their current company, and they would accept another one. So our our offer acceptance rate was low. So by me wording the question that way in front of leadership, in front of the finance team, because the finance team controls the budget, I needed them to see, unless we get an increase in the budget, we're not just trying to give all the money away, but in order to be competitive and to hit these numbers, which makes the overall company look good and be successful, we need a budget increase. So I was able to influence the room without dominating it or throwing my team or the finance team, who didn't listen to me in the first place, even though they should have, under the bus. Being a leader doesn't mean always showing that you're right in the boastful way. It means, again, influencing the room without dominating it. It means elevating others, right? Go ahead, Ned. I'm sorry. Did you want to say something?
No, I just wanted to say I agree with you. It's about supporting, elevating, supporting, helping others rise. That's what the
It's
theme
just
of
like
this
a
community
feather.
is about. A true leader doesn't show up only for themselves. You don't need to have the title once again, people. You don't need to have the title of lead or CEO or senior or anything or VP. It's a mindset. That's what we're trying to say the entire time. Um, a leader uh, I really look up to said, "You wanna be someone that gets things done when there's a problem that comes your way or to your team's way. Instead of, you know, thinking of I can't or we can't, you need to shift focus. That focus on I can and we can, even if you don't have the title, hey, we can do this. We can find a solution. Let's sit down and think together. That entire we can, I can shift shows that you are a solution oriented person. People notice that. People notice how you communicate, how you present yourself, how you are confident. And in the face of adversity or crises, you're able to keep your cool. And by the way, these are learned with time. No one is born a leader. Remember that. You become a leader. It's a journey. Let's keep going, Justin.
Yep,
I
and
hope
leading
that
right.
our audience is getting some value. Please drop some comments. Would love to hear from you.
Please interact with us on this, guys. And what Netta said leads us into the next kind of statement. Identity always shifts before circumstances do, right? So people get promoted after others, especially other leaders, start referring to them as the person who can own this. In those meetings, I've been now as a TA professional, I have been in those meetings with department heads and business owners like, hey, so and so Susan, I know Susan is going to get this done. She's been great. Everything we ask her to do, she does a great job. Even if she doesn't know how to do it, she lets us know that, but she goes and figures it out and comes back with a solution. Be solution oriented, right? Be that person when your name is brought up in rooms that you're not in, that positive things are said about, right? The person who can do this, the person who can own this, the person that we have faith in. Build your credibility. And number also, make sure you want to lead. Make sure you want to lead before you go down that journey, before you go down that rabbit hole. All right. So what's one small leadership behavior you can test tomorrow? Right? A question, a suggestion, a moment of ownership. If you have that, drop it in the chat. Even if you're replaying this after we've done being live, drop it in the comments and watch how other people kind of respond. We'll respond ourselves just to see what everybody in the community is going through, to see that you're not by yourself. Again, the whole purpose of Unfeathered is to rise together. It's not just Netta and I telling you guys what we think. We want to hear what you think as well.
It's a group thing. It's a collective thing. We're here to support you, just as you're here to support us. So we have Code Walker. Hey, I'm so happy from X. He dropped. Oh, you put it there. Thank you very much. Solid points. We appreciate your. And he's a leader. He took a few months off, built himself up, and he's back on X. Very proud of you, Code Walker. And I talked earlier about social engineering.
Mm,
And social engineering, in fact, is I learned about this term from a good friend of mine that I met on X called named Timo, who's in Finland. Timo, if you're watching, hi. And okay, the definition is social engineering is a manipulation tactic. Wait a sec before you think, and you're like, what? That exploits human psychology and trust to trick people into performing actions or divulging confidential information. We are not telling you to do that. Instead, the way it works is you can use this to your advantage. If you have we're telling you to do this and with good intentions, it's you going in these rooms, gathering information, establishing trust, We're not telling you to explore, we're not telling you to disengage. So rather take the good from social engineering
Mhm.
to understand how people think, to tailor your communication to them, understand their patterns. It's about you molding yourself into a new identity. But in the process, as I said, it's a journey. It requires you to try different things to see what works for you, what doesn't, what communication style works for you, what leadership style works for you, right? And as you're doing this, it's once again, you learn and try. Errors come along the way, drop the ball on something, but it's okay. You are molding yourself into a leader, into an identity of a leader, but at the same time, the smart way to do it is to do that, but at the same time, is to sit in these as Justin said, you sit in these meeting rooms, you understand what they think, you take notes in your mind, you adapt yourself to the people that you are going to work with or communicate with. A leader is adaptable. Don't tell me, uh, no matter what kind of leader you are, you need to be an adaptable person. You need to be flexible. So adapt yourself to your team, adapt yourself to the people you're working with. And just the entire leadership journey will make you adaptable as well. And as you're working with the people, you adapt, that trust is built with time. And once you know when the time is right, when you're ready to execute, right, you go. As we say in French, tu fonces, you go forward and you deliver excellence.
I agree. I agree 100%. And, this doesn't just have to be for people currently in their roles. Say you're a job seeker, like so many of us out there right now. How do you establish yourself as a leader going into your role as you're interviewing? Because you really do have to stand out. Something we've been talking about across all of our platforms that we're on, across multiple of our shows, is creating that brand, right? Creating that brand of a thought leader, right? So you visibility creates narrative, right? So you want to make sure you're consistently visible in the rooms or in the markets and the platforms that you want to be successful in. Okay, because that visibility creates a narrative around your brand. Your brand is about what people think about you, what people think about when they hear your name or see your face, right? And overall, that narrative creates perception. And guess what? Perception creates opportunity. I'll say that again. Visibility creates the narrative creates perception, and perception ultimately creates that opportunity. It goes back to, you want to be that person when they mention your name in the rooms you're not in, that they know you can get this done. Okay. Leaders don't just do the work, they shape the story of the work, right? So, a good quick example, instead of saying I finished this task, like if you're in a meeting, instead of saying I finished this task, say, hey, here's the impact this task had on the business outcome, right? Instead
You
of
switch the language.
Exactly.
You switch
Instead
the
of being a
language.
silent hero, a leader does. Sorry, guys, I just hit my leg. Uh, a leader does. A leader does speak up for themselves. Too many times I see people not want to speak up or not wanting to boast or brag, but there's a way to speak up without coming across as boastful or overconfident or cocky, right? Instead of being the silent hero, become the person who connects dots across teams, right? So share your wins. Here's the impact this task had on the business outcome, and here are the people that I spoke with and connected across teams to make sure this task got done effectively and efficiently. All right. Instead of hiding behind your humility, share your wins with clarity and evidence.
I love
Okay.
that. And I wanted to say a leader celebrates others because
Yes.
you want people to be on your side.
And
You
when you
want to
celebrate
build
others, they will celebrate you.
exactly when you uplift others, they will uplift you. And when you're down, they will come for you. Not in a bad way. I mean, I'm being extra spicy today, Justin. What's up with me?
I don't know. Maybe I'm rubbing off
Social
on you.
engineering definitions. Oh boy.
There we
I'm
go.
not saying they're gonna come
That's the social
for you. They're
manipulation
gonna
going
come
on.
they're gonna come to support you. I haven't had my coffee, everyone, so oh, I'm
It
feeling
is
it.
a little bit early for us. I have plans. We're going to see the Falcons hopefully win, but knowing them, they probably lose. But anywho,
Falcons.
that's why we're going early today. But think about it like this, and that'll cut me off if you wanted to stay on that topic a little bit before I move on. But think about it like this: people don't follow the most skilled person. Think about it. How many? The most skilled person is usually quiet, right? They sit back, but they don't follow the most skilled person. They follow the most understandable person, right? If others don't see the shape of your leadership, they can't name it. Drop in the chat. Sometimes it's drop in the chat, just say me or I've seen it, or say something if you've been part of a team where the smartest person, the most skilled person was still overlooked and not the leader, and the person who seemed to do not as much work but was able to kind of properly verbalize and get everybody on the same page was that person that was leading the room. And a lot of times, as me as a leader, I want people that's smarter than me working under me, to be 100% honest. I do good
Now,
at, go ahead.
yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off here, but I have to say something. I'm probably thinking from probably someone in our audience is like, huh, so those extroverts definitely have an advantage over me because they can communicate. They're a social butterfly, has a, advantage over the introverted me. So I'm not a leader. Hmm. What do you think?
I think the answer is yes. You got to get out of your shell. You can be an introvert at
Exactly.
home. You can be an introvert at home.
Exactly.
But the thing is, build confidence in yourself, right? Build confidence. And again, this is where it comes back to what I said a few minutes ago. Decide if you want to be a leader. If you don't really want it, if you're happy where you're at, it's nothing wrong with being a member of the team. There's nothing wrong with being a member of the team and not a leader. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. There's a lot of psychological stuff that comes with being a leader. You're taking a good leader takes the hits when the team messes up. If you're not somebody that can do that, don't lead. If you're not somebody who doesn't like to speak up on behalf of others or speak up in front of leaders, stay where you're at and do what you're doing. It doesn't mean that you won't progress in your career. You're just not necessarily seen as a leader. You're seen as somebody who's great at their job, but at the same time, I'm going to want to keep you right there as long as I can until I can find somebody that's equally as good as you to replace you before I can move you up.
And that's the fact about the job market right now. You don't want to be replaced. Even if you're an entrepreneur, you don't want your clients replacing you with another provider.
True.
So these skills are, we have AI as well, right? We have AI that could do the job. So how are you going to stand out? And I'm being super blunt right now.
Yeah.
By being a doer, you're not doing yourself a favor in this day and age.
And everybody's not going to like you.
Tech is, tech is all over. Tech is all over the place. The there are still jobs available for people that want to keep executing. I'm sure there will always be, but if you are looking to elevate yourself, if you are looking to get to where you want to be, to those roles where the real money is at, get up with those leadership skills. Is Shiloh okay? Baby
No,
Shiloh?
that was just my dog. I was closing the window so you guys won't keep hearing the dog bark. Sorry about that.
Oh, I thought it was Shiloh for a second.
Oh no,
We had baby Shiloh, Justin's 4-month-old baby, on one of our lives 2 weeks ago, so I thought she was like right there for a second.
no
But
worries.
I want to say about the leadership. I know even myself, up until February, I hadn't been in too many in-person networking events that I wasn't hosting because I've hosted in-person networking events myself, but I wasn't a guest. Like I wasn't the guest, I was the one hosting. So as a guest, I went there in February and I felt extremely out of place. Luckily,
Mhm.
my friend Javon, and this was in Seattle, he said, follow me. I was shadowing him the entire time. And if you are looking to get out of your shell, work with someone that is already out of theirs.
Mhm.
You need to have other leaders as support to rise. It's not you being in your little corner by yourself. trying to spread your wings. You need someone to have you under theirs. That's why the power of mentorship and community is so important. So if you're scared and you're shy, I fully acknowledge those emotions because I've been there. I know how it feels, and I'm sure Justin has been there too. So don't do this entire journey of leadership or rising to alone by yourself. And I've seen introverts that are leaders, that they go and they speak in rooms and they speak in front of big audiences. It takes up a lot more energy for them than the average extrovert, but they still show up. So it is entirely possible to be an introvert and to be a leader. You have to find out what works for you, right? Let's keep going.
Yeah, and why do you want to be a leader? Like I don't consider myself an introvert. I'm kind of both. Be very extroverted when I want to, but when I'm going into new spaces, I'm the type of person to kind of sit back first, watch, analyze, and then figure out where I can fit in. And I do think I've gotten feedback that that helps me be a good leader, right? You don't just go in with things to fix because 9 times out of 10, somebody's probably suggested what you've suggested, but there's a reason why it didn't work, right? So instead of just going off the handle and naming all of these suggestions, pay attention, listen, ask the questions in separate settings to make sure that you're not putting your foot in your mouth or to make sure that you're not. The way to stand out is to ask the questions that haven't been asked. And the only way you can do that is by speaking to people. Speak to people outside of your team. Understand that all processes work together with somebody outside or with a team that is not a part of the same team, with an outside team. Oh, Jesus, forgive me. With an outside team. It's all about collaboration and how you can connect the dots. As we keep saying, leaders bring people together. Leaders,
Leaders are creative thinkers.
yes, very much so. Right.
I just wanted to add something to that. Leaders are the people that ask best questions. So here's a very creative way to to learn how to ask better questions. In your relationship, if you have a partner, listen very carefully to what they're not saying.
Yes. And
Read between the lines. Social audio rooms on X, on Clubhouse. You don't need to be an expert. You need to be genuinely curious. That's a muscle that you build with time. And reframing things is also super, super important. The language that you use, a doer versus a leader, use totally different language, whether it be their self talk or whether it be the language they communicate with others.
I agree. I agree. So, anybody, if I know we're a little bit earlier today, we may not have as many people who typically engage with us. But if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. We'll definitely get to those. I want to go to positioning yourself for the role you want. Right. Some mistakes I've seen in the past working in the corporate world. Everybody wants to be a leader, right? But what happens is they don't really position themselves for the role they want, and then they become a leader of something that they totally don't care for and that they didn't want in the first place. Right? You don't just do all the work, ask all the questions, and position yourself as a leader for a role that you're not prepared to lead, right? Or step into. And not even so much being prepared that you just flat out don't want to do. If you don't want to lead the community efforts in your job, like the community engagement, don't step up and try to lead all of the community engagement and community service events for your company. Go ahead, Netta.
I have to jump in this one. Sometimes we are given an opportunity to lead, but we don't recognize our own potential. And sometimes we need a coach or a good friend to give us a nice nudge. Hey, you got this. So I want to say, yes, it's important to have that discussion, but sometimes others see potential in you that you don't. And this is really applicable to people who are incredibly hard on themselves. and have super high standards. Give yourself some grace. If
Yeah, she's
they chose you, it's because they see potential in you. And before you turn down that offer or that opportunity, think with think and talk with someone else, like a mentor, a coach, a partner. Don't make that decision alone because you may end up regretting it
yeah,
later.
Net talking to herself here because she has so much potential that she doesn't know about, and we tell her every week. Like she's a great coach herself. I don't, we're trying to get her to step into that realm as well. She's already the best connector we know, but Netta is the perfect example of what she just said. So, and she's practicing what she's preaching, guys. So she's speaking from experience, not just from somebody, speaking into the void. All right. So you want to position yourself, all right, properly. You want to position yourself to listen, position yourself for the role that you feel as you want, and also prepare yourself to be pushed outside of your comfort zone. If you're comfortable, you're not growing. Right? Think about growing pains. That's why it's called growing pains, because it makes you uncomfortable. You have to be
I
pushed
love
outside of your limits. Yeah. So now, speaking of positioning yourself for the role you want, and this is where it comes a little bit into the job seeker or promotions type, right? You want to positioning is
want
not
to
bragging. All
position
right.
yourself. Yeah, we had
Yeah.
3 live streams on branding, by the way. You can go back and take a
hmm
look.
But positioning is not bragging. It's curating. It's letting people know what you want to do. It's building your brand. And we go. I won't go over it because we've done plenty of lives. Please go back and view them. They were amazing. Right. Your personal brand should be written from the perspective of the role you're stepping into or that you want to step into, not the role you're leaving or currently in. Okay.
You don't need to have the title yet, folks. You're a work in progress.
And this
You're
is
a
what I.
leader. Yeah, you're a work in progress for the role you want, but you have the
Mhm.
identity leader now. So your entire brand needs to be forward thinking, and you need to, as I said, you mold yourself into that leader. You mold yourself into that role. And it's all a question of perspective, perception, as Justin said. You want
Well, how
people
do you mold
to,
yourself without being an imposter or feeling the imposter syndrome?
yeah, you'll feel it. It's a part of it.
Everybody, listen, it's not an imposter if you're doing it. You just may not be at the level you want to be, but you're not an imposter, right? So, specifically, what I see with my clients as the job father for job seekers, you know, they don't their resume is based upon their resume and LinkedIn is based upon everything that they did and not necessarily pointing towards where they're looking to go. So if you're forever stuck in what you did, people can only they don't know you. We don't know you outside of your resume or LinkedIn. So we only see what you've done. We don't know where you're going. So you need to update your resume with outcome-based leadership language. Craft LinkedIn activity that reflects strategic thinking towards the level or the role you're seeking to go or land. Right? Identify one level up roles, not giant jumps. If you're not just, but if you're a senior manager, don't go for a VP of that certain position, right? Go up to the director level because you still need to be realistic. All right, be realistic, and your opportunity. Therefore, it helps you without being let down. Now, in your strategic placement, if you're doing a great job and somebody comes to you for something that is, more than one level up, then take that opportunity if you're ready. But be offered a seat at the table. Don't just go sit at the table yourself.
One of the things that I also wanted to highlight is don't be afraid to celebrate your wins. This goes back to the imposter. If you did something for a client and be proud of it, get a testimonial.
hmm
There's nothing wrong. If you did something at work and someone celebrates you, give yourself a pat on the back.
Keep a journal.
Sometimes you need to celebrate yourself. Hey, I did this. Hey, I went and did this presentation. I did great. The self-talk is so important because you are your own boss. You don't always need the acclamation from everyone else cheering for you. You need to first cheer for yourself because if you recognize your own potential, others, you'll radiate an energy that will attract others to want to be around you. You want to be that person that attracts, that is magnetic. We actually had a space on this topic on X a few months ago, Justin, remember? You want to be
Yeah.
that magnetic person, the solution oriented person, but the person that also radiates positivity. This is all, once again, it comes with time. It comes with you finding out what kind of leader you're going to be. So give yourself a pat in the back. Be kind to yourself, even if you make those mistakes. Recognize the fact that you're on this journey, the
Mhm.
fact that you're showing up for you first, that deserves recognition. So give yourself a look in the mirror and give yourself not one but two pats on the back. Thank you. Go
And
ahead.
if you're currently working, every time you get noticed for something or a shout out, even if it's in a meeting, write a note. If you get an email with a shout out, save it. Keep a journal of your successes. That helps you when you're doing your resume, which you should be doing every quarter, right? And also to help you learn to pat yourself on the back, like Netta said, right? Keep those motivational notes in front of you. And if you don't love yourself, you have to love yourself first, so that you can have that magnetic kind of energy. Desperate people, people who don't love on themselves, you give off that energy and people can feel it. People will treat you how you treat yourself first. Be confident in yourself, right? So, don't be overconfident, but let me back up. Take the wins, write them down. And when you are feeling down and you're feeling a little bit outside of yourself, go back and look at those wins and remind yourself who the F you are. Okay. Sometimes you do have to just do that. Sometimes you got to look in the mirror and just remind yourself, for me, I am him. When it comes to talent acquisition, when it comes to leading teams, recruiting teams, especially go to market, recruiting teams around the globe, I get it done. Now, I wouldn't just go say that to anybody else, but I say that to myself so that when I walk into those rooms, into those situations, I exude excellence on that front because I first believe in myself, right?
So this is a perfect segue to talk about or connect dots from before.
Okay.
You're an executive recruiter, Justin.
Hmm.
What are some, and it's all about language and how you communicate. How do you recognize someone when you talk to them that is a leader versus someone who's a doer? What are words that you hear or statements?
Words, like I said a little bit earlier, words that are green flags for me as a recruiter are people that can state their achievements and what benefit to the company the outcomes had. Does that make sense? So I believe I said a little earlier, state here's the impact this task had on the business outcome, right? Instead of I did this, or people who use words that kind of diminish their achievements, like, oh, I was only a part of a team that did this, or I just created spreadsheets. No, I created spreadsheets that led to a decrease in time to fill rates by 45%. Right, though it's the language that you use, it's the key language and how you speak about yourself that shows the green flags that you are a leader. Or if I ask somebody, tell me about a weakness you have. A weakness, somebody who can turn a weakness into a strength shows that they are capable of being leaders. Somebody who can take something that is somebody else's fault but explain it in a way that it was a team effort, and that instead of saying it was just something that went wrong, they acknowledge what went wrong and they acknowledge the steps to correct it so that it won't happen again, right? And also just somebody who's very confident, somebody who's jovial, somebody who's smiling, somebody who's mimicking my language when I'm talking to them. That shows that they understand psychological
Body language is
processes.
big.
Yeah,
Body language is big.
right.
Yeah,
So
we
we
didn't cover
see.
that.
Yeah. So at the beginning, I mentioned that, hey, I'm not a thought leader when it comes to, going into leadership from a doer. So I was less confident in my body language and speech. But as soon as Netta asked me about, something with talent acquisition, I perked up, was able to speak directly and give you a clear answer. And if you're on the other side of that computer, you're like, hey, I'm going to listen to this guy because he knows what he's talking about for this. The same thing. It's the body language. It's about how you speak, how you stand up for yourself. And a true leader The best green flag for me is somebody who's not afraid to say I don't know, but I can figure it out and get back to you. Or they can just
Transparency.
say I don't know. In interviews, I do not like the biggest red flag to me, leadership or not, is somebody if I can tell that they're just trying to wing an answer that they don't know the answer to, right? Be truthful. Stand in your truth. A true leader can stand in the truth and make a negative into a positive because we don't know everything. And a
Solution
great leader,
oriented.
yeah, a great leader can understand and acknowledge what they don't know when it is brought to their attention. But they can
So
also figure out who they need to go to.
just to connect, I'm sorry for interrupting you to what you were saying. By showing yourself as a leader, you are de-risking yourself a lot for a company to give you the job, to hire you, to promote you, or for you as a client, sorry, as an entrepreneur to get that client. Showing these red flags are predictable outcomes that you own up for your self development. They don't have to think and tell you every single thing to do. You are proactive. You are always one step ahead. You are strategic and you're able to also stay cool when you have ambiguity. A leader keeps their cool as much as possible. A leader, and by once again, this comes with time. The leaders that I respect the most have super stressful jobs, but they remove a lot of the burden from their team. Not saying for you to take the work of everyone, but if you're able to come off as that person that can help jump in when someone else is not able to do something because they're overloaded with one work, and you can say, okay, well, I know, I recognize, I understand you're overwhelmed. Let me do this to help you. That's that's a true sign of leadership because you think of
Mhm.
it as a we instead of as an I.
Exactly. And one of my biggest pet peeves as a leader, so this is going to be a little off topic, but on topic at the same time. So just on topic at the same time. So just bear with me. As a leader, when I'm leading a team, my biggest pet peeve, what I absolutely hate, is I hate somebody who just never knows how to do anything and doesn't know how to figure it out. Especially if it's something that you can Google or something that you can really take the steps that you have the tools. If it's something that you have the tools and resources to figure it out, but you don't figure it out and you come bother me about it, you're wasting my time. That is my biggest pet peeve and the biggest way to just get demoted on my team. So when it does come time for promotions, I'm not betting on you because I'm going to have to hold your hand and babysit you. All right. Promotions are not rewards for past performance, they're bets on future capability. And if I can't bet on you that if I step away as a leader, that you can't step up and do what you need to do, I'm not betting on you. Right. You want to teach them and show them that you're a smarter and safer bet and not a liability. And that's how you
I
really
also,
step into leadership roles.
sorry, so sorry, keep going, please. I apologize.
That
You
was
you
no,
said
that was
something that
fast.
really,
That was it.
so
Go ahead.
I have a message to any leader that is watching this right now. There are people in your teams that want to actually grow and they want to spread their wings, but they are more compelled to do so if they feel that they are in a safe space. As a leader, I would say you are somehow responsible to give that safe space to someone. Micromanaging will never help anyone. I understand there are leaders that have pressure from above to deliver results, to deliver KPIs, but the micromanagement will not do your teams any good. If you want your team to become leaders, give them the opportunity to do so. Recognize their potential because there are leaders in the making that are fearful, that no matter what, they don't believe in themselves. And I understand everyone is supposed to take ownership for their own self development, but sometimes you can become that mentor, that person. And having a good mentor or a good leader that, you have someone under your wing, if you are looking for a way to build your legacy, this is the perfect opportunity. You can help someone by believing in them, by using constructive feedback and vocabulary to showcase that person that, hey, I see you did this. Thank you. Acknowledging, giving thanks, gratitude
Mhm.
will make your team want to work for you, want to work with you, and it'll motivate them to even work harder. A boss that I truly respect. It was he told us take the rest of the afternoon off because on the following Monday it was a Canadian holiday. And I really appreciated that what he said. Because or we had some important things coming our way. There was a colleague that was transferring to a different department. He took on some of her work because he didn't want the pressure of all the end of the year work to be transferred to the rest of the team. A true leader, if you are a leader, you will work with your team. You will take some of the work to remove some of the burden from them, to help them. But as a result, they will work extra hard for you to deliver the results. So when you go to your boss and you show those KPIs and those results, your team and yourself will shine. You work together, you work with each other, you don't work against each other. So I just wanted to say this to any leader that is listening. Um, your role is pivotal. I have had a few leaders in my lifetime that have been managers, bosses that have changed so much in me for the best. And I know who they are. I think they know who they are. And I just want to say thank you.
Perfect. All right, guys. So we have a couple of more minutes here. I want to leave you with some quick things. Um, Micromanaging, how to deal with the micromanaging boss. Okay. So ways you can lead. You want to lead through clarity and proactive communication. Just like I said, please. I don't like micromanaging, but if I have to manage you, you're probably on the way out the door. Right. So you want to lead through clarity and proactive communication. You want to reduce that manager's uncertainty so they loosen the control. Okay. We spoke about introverts, right? Leadership is not always volume based, it's impact based. Quiet leaders went through clarity, preparation, and strategic questions. And a great place to talk about that is look at your software engineering leaders, because a lot of engineers are introverts, right? They like software engineers specifically. They like to sit and code in their basement or in their garage or in their house. They don't really like to deal with too many people. But the leaders of those departments they usually have impact based solutions, and they went through clarity, preparation, and strategic questions that they asked to their team and to other departments that they work with. And what if you have no direct reports but you want to get to a position that you get direct reports? How do you show that leadership? You lead through influence, right? So you lead projects, lead information flows, lead decisions, right? Leadership isn't about head count, it's about the direction. Okay, so I just want to put that there. Leadership is not about head count, it is about direction. Did you want to add anything on top of that, Netta?
Yes, because we have an audience that probably doesn't have a job right now or is an entrepreneur and looking to get their first clients.
Go ahead.
How you show up for yourself is how you can become a leader. How you show up online, how you show up in these social audio rooms, how you show up in the responses and the replies and the posts that you make online. It's how you present yourself and how you show yourself, how you talk, how you formulate words, your body language. These are great ways to demonstrate that you are a leader. Once again, you are not born a leader, you become a leader. So step up, step into the shoes of a leader. You don't need to have everything figured out. You'll make mistakes, you'll drop the ball. Just understand, not being super blunt. People have so many things to worry about than the mistake that you made.
Be
People
con-
have a lot of concerns in their own life than that mistake that you made. Move on. They'll move on, but will you? Right? You need to move on too. I think that many people are afraid to step into that leadership role for themselves first because they're afraid of making mistakes. And I used to be one of those people. But once I realized people have a life and they're not going to stick stuck forever on that mistake that I made and they moved on, I decided to move on too. At the end of the day, the choice is yours. Do you want to be a doer or do you want to step up first and foremost for yourself and do something about it? If you're a parent, you're already a leader. Just remember that. You don't need to sell for someone to come and give you that leader title. You are already one. It's all a question of your mindset and your mind frame. I also wanted to talk about my friend Timo, his newsletter, because that has been pivotal in me on my journey. Highstakeshumanskills.com. And it's a steak, STAKES, not the steak that you eat.
Okay.
Steaks with an S. That's a free newsletter. You can purchase the premium version if you want. That newsletter has taught me uh, like the body language side of things when it comes to leadership, how to present myself in rooms, how to position myself as a leader, how to think like a leader, how to write like a leader. Like there's a lot of topics. That's what I meant when I said social engineering. You are giving people the perception that you are a leader. First, it's the perception, but always remember you are a leader. Even if you're not entirely there yet, you are a leader. That's it. Thank you very much. That's all for my side for today, Justin.
Awesome. Listen, we'll leave you with, as I always say, if God before you, who can be against you? When your back is against the wall, already remember all the things He's already done for you, right? And stop waiting for somebody to validate what you already know. Lead with intention, communicate with clarity, and show up with the energy of the role you want, not the one you're settling for, right? So please continue to follow us on LinkedIn, X, YouTube. Did I leave anything out? Nope. LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. Please join us. Please, please, please follow our page on LinkedIn. We're really trying to build the LinkedIn community so we can bring more great content to you guys and continue to rise together. Thank you again for joining us this Sunday. Hopefully, we'll see you next week on Career Files, and have a great day.
Thank you, and stay tuned. We'll be sharing our next week's topic and posts and everything on social media. We are also excited to announce that we will be working with some volunteers. We want to give them huge thanks for their time, for filling out the forms, for their time speaking to us, and we are working with them to do a kickoff call very soon to get things up and running. So there's a lot of exciting things coming for the community in 2026. I would say as early as mid-December. So thank you to our volunteers. We ahead of time appreciate you much more than you think because you are a part of something beautiful that is waiting to unravel and happen. So thank you everyone for also listening in today, for watching. This is going to be this is live, so it's recorded. You could play it again and drop any feedback. My DMs on LinkedIn and X are open. If you have any feedback, any suggestions, we're both very curious to hear from you. Thank you so
Yes.
much, and we will see you next week.
See you next week, guys.
Bye.